Welcome to Versus Podcast. My name is Matt, and I am excited to have Blake Dolan joining me today. If y'all could please like this video and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Blake, I'm glad to have you finally on one of the episodes. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm excited. I'm ready to talk baseball. Let's get into it.
Yeah. Hey, this episode is all our MLB trade deadline recap. So I thought that there would be no one better to bring on than Dodger fan Dolan himself. So, Blake, let's start this off with one of the biggest trades that happened this deadline, and that is the Padres trading for Juan Soto and Josh Bell. The Nationals get in return Luke Voit, Mackenzie Gore, C.J. Abrams, who becomes the number one prospect in the Nationals organization. Robert Hassel III becomes the third. James Wood becomes their fourth prospect, and then Jarlin Susana becomes their number 10 prospect. So, Blake, what did you think of the trade in total?
I thought the Padres did a really good job here. They got Bell and Soto for 5 really good prospects, but it was needed for them to be a playoff contender and a World Series contender going forward. The prospects they did give up were pretty good. I think all of them are Major League ready for the most part, and I think all of them will start on the Nationals MLB roster in a couple of years. But I think both sides did pretty well here.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of talking about it before we started, but I think that if this trade is just for Juan Soto, I think that it's pretty even. I mean, even kind of leans toward the Nationals, but adding Josh Bell in there, he's had a phenomenal year. I don't have his numbers up, but I think that is he batting over 300 or?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so he's having a great year. So I think that this is a great trade for the Padres. But the Padres did not stop there, as they acquired Josh Hader from the Brewers for Taylor Rogers, Dinelson Lamet, Esteury Ruiz, and Robert Gasser, who becomes their 16th prospect for the Brewers. What'd you think of that one? Getting one of the best closers in baseball.
Again, it was needed if they're going to become World Series. All 3 of these guys make them a World Series contender for sure. Hader definitely knocks down the 9th. They still have questions in the back end, but it definitely helps. And the people they gave up, I mean, Ruiz, I kind of like, but Rogers was struggling down the stretch, and the Met just got DFA'd by the Brewers, so it wasn't that big of a loss.
Yeah. And then kind of the last big piece that they added was Brandon Drury from the Reds. He's been having a great year.
Yeah.
And they gave up prospect Victor Acosta, but, man, I just love all the moves the Padres made. I think that it catapults them into a contention type of position, but do you think that this makes them, you kind of said it, but do you think it makes them a legit contender?
I think they're in the second tier right now. I need to see him play more. I'm waiting for Blake Snell to have a breakout second half. I think he is going to, but I still have questions about their bullpen. I think that's a little shaky. I don't know how they're going to use their pitching staff, really. But I do like Drury, too. I think Drury is a very underrated piece there. His first game, he hit a grand slam with him already. So, I mean.
Yeah. I think that it was needed, but I think that the thing with the Padres now is it puts them in a window. And I think that can build some stress and can build big stress around the organization, an organization that hasn't ever gotten a World Series title. So I think that it's a move that if you're a team that's never won a World Series, you got to make. You go and get Juan Soto. There's not much else you can do. But these next 2.5 years will be telling. I mean, if they win a World Series, then this is all worth it. But if you get to them, they haven't had Tatis this whole year, and they've had a great year. But I mean, how's that going to gel when they get all back together? It'll be interesting to see. I think that they obviously can win a World Series. I think that they're going to have 2 months and Juan Soto's there for 2 months until playoffs, but. I mean, Tatis is probably going to take a couple more weeks, if that. So, if not longer. So, I mean, that's a month and a half, a month that he has, and to gel everyone together. But I like their pitching staff. I love Musgrove. So I think that they have the pitching that it needs. I think that they can go win any series that they want. But
yeah, and this will. It's funny because the Padres and Cardinals were in on it, and the Cardinals historically they never ship any of their prospects because they always want to stay good. They always want to make the playoffs. But they never make that big move that puts them in World Series contention. While the Padres, they risk it all. We've seen them down, we've seen them up, and now this is just another window for them trying to get up.
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to see. Let's go into some of the other trades that have happened. Kind kind of talking about the Padres trade, something that was interesting that happened through it, if you guys didn't hear, was Eric Hosmer was part of the deal at first, and ultimately ended up to getting Luke Voigt to be part of the deal because Eric Hosmer had the no-trade clause in his contract. And the Nationals were one of those teams, so it was interesting to see that. Can't blame him, though, for not wanting to go and play in Washington, D.C. I know that I was hearing he had a kid on the way, so probably didn't want to do that, but ended up getting traded to the Red Sox, so I thought that was an interesting thing to add to that. One of the other small ones before we get to the other ones is the Cardinals acquired Jordan Montgomery from the Yankees for Harrison Bader. I personally will start this off. I think that it's an interesting move from the Yankees. I think that it's a team that has a pretty solid lineup, and I don't think that getting rid of one of your pitchers was going to help you out that much, but I think that it's nice to have that outfield depth. You don't have to have Giancarlo in the outfield all the time. I mean, for the next 2 months, you can give Judge time off. Yeah. So I think that, but what are your thoughts on that one?
Just a weird trade. It almost seemed like a panic trade for both of them because it was at the end of the deadline.
Yeah, 5 minutes left or something like that.
There's not a lot to it. I mean, I don't even think Montgomery will be on the playoff roster.
Mm-hmm.
If Bader comes back, he was swinging it pretty well when he was active, but we'll see.
Another big one for the Yankees was getting Andrew Benintendi. That was one of the big moves that they made. What are your thoughts about him joining the outfield there in with the New York Yankees as they make a push for the World Series?
It's interesting because he was an ex-Red Sox too.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely helps him on the bases. He's a good at stolen bases. I think the Royals did a good job too. I forgot. Is that the one where they got Waldichuk? Oh,
yeah.
No.
Was it
that was the Athletics one. They
Okay.
got Waldichuk for. I think it was good for both sides. The Royals need to get rid of him because he's a free agent next year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rental. It's for this year.
Yeah, and then we had Joey Gallo traded to your Los Angeles Dodgers. How do you feel? Try to keep the bias aside, but we still want to hear the bias on this podcast.
Yeah.
We're true and authentic. What do you think of the Joey Gallo trade?
Well, once again, we'll see the Dodgers make him something good. You know he will. We've done it with Justin Turner. We did it with Chris Taylor. I mean, I can name more, but we don't have time for the podcast. Joey Gallo, I like him. I thought he was getting a bad rap in New York. He has pretty good defense. He has insane power. So the potential's there. I think the Dodgers will do what they always do with him.
I think that I don't know why the Yankees fans hated on him so much because I kind of heard this from someone talking about the trade deadline, and I think it's true. Is for some reason the Yankees fans like to talk about everything that's going wrong with their team, and it seems like they want to be like, Joey Gallo's terrible, Joey Gallo's this, Joey Gallo's that. And I think in LA, y'all are just like, let's worry about our best players, and then if Joey Gallo becomes one of those, that's great. But besides that, don't really care. I got my other. You got Freddie Freeman, you got Trey Turner, you got them to worry about. So
yeah.
I think it was a good trade. I think that it's good for Joey Gallo to get away from there. It definitely seemed like he was tired of being there. He was ready to go. So I think that that's a good thing. But let's go over to the Astros, adding Trey Mancini from the Orioles. What do you think of that move?
In my opinion, they were definitely the winners of the trade deadline in the AL. I really liked all their moves, but Mancini especially. They didn't even give up a lot. They gave up a pitching prospect, but I didn't think much of it. But yeah, I love Mancini. I can't wait to see him in a playoff atmosphere. He's been stuck in Baltimore all those years. But yeah, he'll be a good right-handed power bat that they needed.
Sticking in the AL West, we have the Mariners acquiring Luis Castillo from the Reds. Shout out Luis Castillo. He's on my fantasy team, so gotta love that. But he's having a great year. I think that it's a good pickup for Seattle. I think that I wouldn't say that they're a contender at all, but I think that making the playoffs is enough for them right now. It's been, 19, 20 years?
Yeah.
So it's time. I think that this catapults them into that wild card. They started playing well right before the All-Star break. I think that this is another thing that they needed that'll help them to make a wild card this year.
Yeah. I did not like this trade for the Mariners a lot. I'm going to be honest. This reminds me of the Chris Archer trade when the Rays got Meadows and Tyler Glasnow.
Really?
I really like the prospects they gave up. I love Nueve Marte. I love Arroyo. I think
they gave up Nueve Marte, Edwin Arroyo, Livy Stout, and then Andrew Moore, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love all three of those prospects, the first three named. I think he'll, I don't know, we just haven't really seen him in a playoff atmosphere. And I don't really trust him either. I don't know. I think that's going to come back to haunt them.
Interesting. Well, let's head over back to the Yankees. They acquire Frankie Montas from the A's. What did you think of that one? Getting one of the stars seems like it's the last piece of the A's that they finally had to get rid of to finally completely tank. So,
I mean, to be fair, Athletics did get a top 100 prospect, Waldichuk, who I like him a lot. He's a good left-handed pitcher. They also got Trevino in that too, and he's a New York native. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Montes will stick right in, especially after giving up Montgomery. They're going to need Montes to eat up innings quick.
Yeah, very true. Minnesota Twins acquired Tyler Mahle from the Reds for Spencer Steer, Christian Encarnacion Strand, and Steven Hajar. I think is how you say it. But I like this move for the Twins. I mean, they're not going to do anything, but hopefully they can finally win one playoff game. It's been a while, so I think that this is a good arm to add. I mean, that's what they don't have is pitching, so I think that any pitching that they can get, they've struggled with Sonny Gray staying healthy this year, but if they can have him stay healthy, I think that at least they got something going in the starting pitching range.
He'll definitely be a starter in the playoffs, which I don't know if he'll be a 2 or 1. It's between him and Gray, I don't know. But, yeah, I like it. They didn't really give up a lot, so I like the trade. And he's got years of control, too, so they'll have him next year.
All right, let's talk about the Angels getting rid of everyone except for Ohtani and Mike Trout, obviously, since they have him under. But the Phillies got kind of two separate trades. It kind of happened at the same time. It was kind of weird. So the Phillies acquire Noah Syndergaard for Mickey Moniak and JDL Sanchez, and then they got Brandon Marsh also from the Angels for Logan O'Hoppe. So why don't you start us off with that one?
The Angels are the worst franchise I've ever watched. I mean, they just don't know. I just don't know what they're doing. Like, why would you give up Syndergaard and Marsh if you're not, but you don't give up Ohtani? So what are you thinking for next year? Like, you're just going to keep Ohtani more when his value's down more. So if you're looking to trade him next year, I mean, they probably will be. He's not going to be worth as much because he's going to be a free agent.
Do you know if either of these guys were going to be free agents?
Syndergaard, I think it's a player option.
Gotcha.
But Marsh has years of control. This is the problem. They're just really impatient with their prospects, and Marsh was still developing. They did the same thing with Adele, so I'm actually happy for him. But they got O'Hoppe back. He's not bad. I could see him next year. But Moniak, I don't know. It's just a Angels thing to do to get Moniak.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I mean, I know that this year definitely has just gone from about as high as it could for the Angels to about as low as it could, and I think that they're pulling the trigger too early. And I think if you're going to trade these guys, like you said, why are you not trading Ohtani? It doesn't make any sense to me. The Nationals could have been more patient and waited for Soto, but they knew that they could get the most that they wanted right now, and so they took the high risk, high reward with all their prospects, and I think that that's what the Angels should have done. If you're going to trade Brandon Marsh and Noah Syndergaard, which, yeah, like you said, Brandon Marsh is a good young guy, but they don't have many pieces around Ohtani and Trout. Like, yes, those two are two of the top 5 players in baseball, but with that said, how are you gonna compete? How are you gonna compete in the West when you have the Mariners up and coming and you have them? So I think it's just really interesting to go. I like the moves for the Phillies. I think that the Phillies did well there. And they also acquired David Robertson from the Cubs, which I thought was a good move. Good arm for them to have for sure. What'd you think of that one?
Yeah, he's already got a save with them. I like the Robertson move. It was underrated. I like it a lot. I gotta say one more thing about the Angels. I wanted them so bad to trade Ohtani midway through the year, and they weren't talking about it. And when that magnitude of a player, you have to get it out early. They're looking to trade for him. So I think they figured out that they needed to, but it was way too late.
Mm-hmm.
And I also thought they could have paired him with Rendon and they could have had a clean slate on their payroll. And they could have rebuilt around Trout next year. The free agent cost is going to be insane. But now they kind of lost that window because they got to pay for Rendon's. They still have to pay for Justin Upton's.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they also gave up Raisel Iglesias. They sent him to the Braves. So, I mean, it seems like they're making all the moves besides the big one that needs to be made. I personally, when it first came out, I was like, you've got to wait, and you've got to try with Ohtani again next year. You've got to try one more time with Trout and Ohtani. But as it continues to go and seeing what they did on the last day of the trade deadline, it's like, it doesn't make any sense to me. We talked about David Robinson getting traded from the Cubs. Let's talk about the Cubs for a second. No trading Wilson Contreras and no trading Ian Happ. It seemed like that was a done deal. Caleb, shout out to you if you're listening. But what are the Cubs doing? Like, what is the plan here? We're gonna re-sign Wilson Contreras to a massive deal and then be as bad as we are this year? It makes no sense to me. If you're going to do that, why didn't they trade Ian Happ? That doesn't make any sense. Wilson Contreras, I heard that they just wanted way too much and tried to sell. Okay, put Wilson Contreras aside. You still need to get rid of Ian Happ. You need to get something from that. They have good outfield prospects coming up, and it doesn't make any sense to hold on to him. It's kind of like he's obviously better, but I mean the D-backs, not to shout us out, but hey, we got rid of David Peralta because we have outfield prospects like.
Yeah.
Corbin Carroll's not coming up this year unless David Peralta gets traded. Like, he has the chance to come up later in the year. We're not competing. Let's try it. They went for it. I don't think that it's going to work out because you just get a catching prospect. He could become something, but I think that it's something that just needs to... It doesn't make any sense to me for the Cubs not to make a move for either of those. Especially, you thought it was a done deal when you see them hugging in the dugout. But what do you think?
Well, Happ has a year of control. His value is going to be more than ever, but... he will be on the Cubs next year. I think an off-season trade will become for him. So I wasn't surprised about that at all. But Contreras, yeah, I mean, the problem was there was not a lot of teams looking for a catcher. Not a lot of contending teams. I mean, the Mets, obviously. But I think if I was the Cubs and the asking price was too high, they're definitely asking for the number one prospect, Francisco Alvarez, and probably 2 or 3 other prospects. So if you're asking for that, I don't blame anyone for not taking a flyer because they definitely were shopping him around. I heard rumors, but
yeah,
I mean, yeah, it was tough.
Well, one of the other big ones is where was it? Blue Jays acquired Anthony Bass from the Marlins, so added another arm. Did you like that for the Blue Jays?
Yeah, they had a really disappointing deadline though. I didn't really like that move. I mean, I know he's having a good year, but it's not something you go, wow, we got Anthony Bass. Mm-hmm. We're a World Series contending team now.
Yeah.
Which, you want to talk about windows. You got Guerrero, Bichette. I mean, it's not going to last forever. Mm-hmm. And all their other moves, too. I mean, they got Merrifield, which makes no sense. And they gave up a top 100 prospect, too. So, I mean, they needed a reliever, but, I don't know. They could have got a bigger one, in my opinion. Especially with that farm system, too.
Is there any other moves that struck you that you want to talk about?
I really like the Twins deadline. They got 2 relievers from the Orioles and then 1 from the Tigers. I really like their deadline. They didn't really give up anything, and they definitely got way better. They're definitely a top 5 for me. There wasn't really anyone else.
Well, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and speculate how we see these last 2 months going after all these moves, who we see making the playoffs, and also our World Series matchup after all this. So let's hear it. How do you see it? 1 through 6.
Each side?
Each side. Then World Series.
Okay. We'll do the AL first. I have the Astros as the 1 seed. I see the Yankees as the 2. That Central's tricky. I'm going to give it to the Twins with their deadline moves. So I'll have the Twins at 3. I'll have the Blue Jays at 4, Mariners at 5, and I'll have the Guardians at 6.
Wow. You think the Guardians are making it over the Rays? Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the NL?
Obviously, Dodgers won. Then we got the Mets 2. I have the Brewers at 3. And then Braves 4, Padres 5, Phillies 6. Yeah.
World Series matchup.
Dodgers, Astros.
Dodgers get revenge.
Yeah.
So you got the Dodgers winning it all.
Yeah.
No bias here.
No bias. I just think they're the best team. Like, no bias aside. I mean, they're getting all these players.
They've been the best team a lot of times, man.
Okay. Well, this year is different just because before the playoffs, like last year we lost Muncy. This year we're actually gaining people back. So we're going to be going in hot, in my opinion. And I think the Mets, because in my opinion, Padres aside, I mean, I think the Mets are definitely the team I'm most scared of. I think DeGrom or Scherzer, one of them's not going to pitch. I hate the way...
You think one of them's going to be injured?
Yeah. I hate the way they're using them right now. They already got DeGrom going 5, first start back. They got Scherzer going 7 already. He got dead on press last year, so I know how he's losing his stamina. So, yeah.
All right, well, I will go. In the AL, I have the Yankees at 1. I have the Astros at 2. I got the Twins at 3. I have the Mariners sneaking above the Blue Jays at 4. So I think that they'll have a good second half. I got the Blue Jays at 5 though, and then I have the Tampa Bay Rays at 6. The Guardians have been playing well, but I just don't see the Rays. It's just I just feel like I see them making it. In the NL, I have the Dodgers at 1. I mean, no surprise, they're
the best.
They're the best. I got the Mets at 2, and then I have the Milwaukee Brewers at 3, and then I have the Padres getting above the Braves at 4. I think that they are a team that could upset one of those top 2 seeds. I have the Braves. I could see the 4 teams I see winning it is either the Dodgers, the Mets, the Padres, or the Braves. Those are the 4 out of the NL. So I have the Braves at 5, and then I have the Phillies at 6. I just like their moves they've been playing well, and then I also like their moves to where the Cardinals have been playing so-so.
No way you see the Brewers making a run?
I don't see the Brewers making a run.
No way?
No.
Okay.
They have the pitching, but...
Yeah.
I mean, I know they still have Devin Williams at the back, but I think Hader's going to hurt him, not having him. It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's dumb. If they don't, I think that there's a chance they go, so I don't know. That's why I don't know why you don't do it. Yeah. Like, you can compete. That's why I don't like it, but you're not going to like my World Series matchup. But I got a Subway Series. I got the Yankees against the Mets. Okay. And I have the New York Yankees winning the World Series this year. I think that they have finally put all those hitters together. They have the pitching that they need to be able to get there. That's always been some of their struggle. So I just think I see a Subway Series. I think it's going to be a perfect story. And I think the Mets just once again are just going to come so close and just lose it. But I think that either the Padres or the Braves get you guys in the second round.
I just don't think either of those teams have the pitching to go a 7-game, because we'd play them in a 7-game then.
No, it's 5.
Oh, the second round's 5?
Division's 5.
Okay. Then maybe I could see it. Okay, I was going to ask...
Because it's best of 3, best of 5, best of 7.
Yeah. I was going to ask, were like the White Sox tempting at all?
No.
No? Okay, me neither.
It's time to get their manager out of there. What's his name again?
The Russo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He's falling asleep at games. It's time to replace him. But
the Orioles?
They sold too much.
Yeah.
If they have Mancini, maybe they can make a run, but...
Yeah, that's fair.
Hey y'all, forgot to do this while recording the podcast, so just wanted to share a verse with you guys, and it's Romans 5:8, and it says, but God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we are sinners, Christ died for us. I just wanted to share that with you guys to know that we are all sinners and we are far from perfect, but God shows us love, and through Christ we're able to be with him for eternity. So just want to leave you guys with that. Just remember to like this video and subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. Follow us on all the socials down below, and we'll see you all in the next one. Peace.